When I was in prayer, I felt like the Lord was telling me it's time for Moses to speak again. God put Moses into Egypt. He was birthed in the land of Egypt. He sat under the counsel and the wisdom and the might and the authority and the control of Pharaoh. And so, what happens in our lives is that God births us in certain situations. He births us in Egypt. He births us into that dysfunctional family. He births us in that dysfunctional ministry. And then he'll lead us out of that thing so that way we can see it from the outside. And then there comes a time for Moses to speak again. There comes a time for Moses to go back and to lead people out of dysfunctional families into healing, to lead people out of dysfunctional ministries and into healing, to lead people out of cults and cult communities, to lead people out of the bondage of addiction that you were once in. God allowed you to be birthed in that thing, whether that's an environment, whether that's an addiction, whether that's a dark past. God allowed you to sit and be birthed in that thing in the land of Egypt because he was going to take you out. He was going to allow you to rest and be healed and restored so that way you could see it from the outside in. And there comes a time where Moses needs to go back to Egypt and he needs to lead people out of that land of bondage, out of that land of slavery, to the lies of the enemy, to the oppression of the enemy, to the addictions, to the bondage, to the dysfunction, whatever it is. I felt like the Lord was saying, it's time for Moses to speak. It's time for Moses to lead people out of that land. Whatever it is that you were birthed in, God allowed you to be birthed in it, and then he allowed you to leave, and now he is allowing you to lead people again out of that dysfunction, out of that land of bondage and slavery, because there was a purpose in it all. There was a purpose in it all. There was a purpose of you being born in a dysfunctional family. There was a purpose of you being born in a dysfunctional ministry, of you being risen up in a cult, of you going through that addiction, going through that pain. God led you out of your Egypt so that way you could see it from the outside in, and he allowed you to get healed. And now it's time for you to speak. And this is where, Moses says, but my speech isn't good and I stumble and I have this fear, but it's time for you to speak because you are called to lead people out of that land of Egypt and into that land of healing. The thief comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. He wants to steal people's purposes. He wants to destroy their calling. He wants to crush them and oppress them mentally, physically, emotionally. He wants them to stay bound in the fears of their mind and the uncertainties of the future. And that's why he needs you as the vessel of Moses. And this isn't a foreign territory. This isn't a foreign thing he calls you to speak about. It's your testimony. It's the thing that you went through that now you are called to speak about because God had a purpose in your misery. He wanted your misery to become your ministry. He wanted your pain to become your purpose. And you've already been brought out of it. You've already been brought into a land of healing. You've been brought into a land of restoration. And so now it's time for you to speak. Now it's time for you to come back and confront Pharaoh, to step into the uncertainties so that way you can take people out of Egypt, lead them through the wilderness into the promise that God has for them. Don't stay silent forever. Again, the Lord was saying to me, it's time for Moses to speak. Don't stay silent forever. You are called to go back and you are called to use your testimony to testify of the goodness of God, to expose the land of Egypt, to call people out of the oppression of Pharaoh back into that land of healing that you now sit in. Don't miss your time. Don't miss your opportunity. Wait on the Lord, but when he calls you to speak, you got to speak. It's time for the Moses to speak. Amen. So if you believe this message is speaking to you, if you believe it's for you, if you believe it's the Lord encouraging you, calling you to speak, calling you to rise up, calling you to use the ministry of your mouth that leads to other people's freedom and healing, share something in the comments and drop a thought, hit the like button, share this with someone who you know needs to hear it. And God bless you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.